Hey friends, Rob Phoenix Powwow guy here. Hope you're all doing well. It is 98 degrees right now. It was really, really hot today. Yesterday was really hot as well. I think we're in kind of a heat snap here for a bit. That's all right. There's ways to stay cool uh, with the awesomeness of electricity outside. We have fans outside and such, so that's not so bad in the shade. Um, anyway, lately I've been getting some commentary from folks who uh, seem to be setting themselves up as some kind of or authority on American folk magic, in particular powwowing. And so the idea is thought that I am sharing too much information. Um, so I'm not. I'm sharing exactly as much information as I want to, which is pretty much everything I know about powwowing. Every time I learn something new, I share it. Every time I read something new, I share it. Uh, the only times secrecy really is an issue is if you have a teacher who teaches you something and says, "Don't ever share it with anybody, or keep it to yourself," or "This is only between us and it does not go any further." When you hear something like that, then you don't share it. Um, or maybe various families or lines in lines of lineage within powwow might have things that they kind of keep amongst themselves, and that's okay too. um, that's just the way it is. Sometimes when you're working at healing for someone, um, the general rule of consensus and traditionally how it was done is that you uh, speak the charm or the verse or whatever it is you're doing kind of under your own breath, because they don't need to hear what you're saying, the clients I'm saying, or your patients. um, and it's sometimes easier for the powwower to um, keep the focus away from themselves and keep the focus more on the healing power of God by just sort of mumbling it under your breath, keeping it between you and God. And that's the way it should be. If your client or your patient wants to know what you said afterwards, like what did you do? What did you say? What were those words you were speaking? Um, my thoughts have changed over the years, and I think at that point in time, uh, it's okay to say I can't share that information with you. Um, if you want to learn more, check out my website or read this book or something, but I can't share that with you. Um, unless you really truly want to share it with that person so that they can then do it for themselves. That's okay too. If you would like to share it with them, um, go for it. It's up to you. But there's people who, well, somebody in particular threw this verse at me. Um, in magic, the rule is to know, to dare, to be silent, to will, to be silent, whatever. And that doesn't apply to me. That's not something that I adhere to. That's some sort of ceremonial magical whatever or rule of Wicca or whatever, to will, to know, to dare, to be silent. That's not I'm a broker, I don't adhere to that. Other things that get thrown at me sometimes is, oh, just harm no one, but do what you want to do. Like I don't intentionally harm people, but that's not something that I am bound to. That's not a rule that exists within the powwow tradition. Um, so I think there's this weird thought in modern folk magic practices that we are all doing the same thing. Um, because I've seen people who label themselves as like a conjure man, and then they're practicing what I guess on the surface kind of looks like hoodoo, maybe a little bit like powwow, but then they're talking about things like the Celtic sabbats and such. So really, I think this modern generic Wicca sort of veneer has been smeared over all these folk traditions, and that really does a disservice to folk traditions. So stop trying to paint our American folk traditions with that Wicca brush. You know, we don't need all that business. Um, we have history and tradition, and it's verified and written down of our own. We don't need all that other silliness that was just invented in the 90s or whatever, painted over it. So insofar as secrecy, we are not bound by the same uh, limitations that are placed on people who do these other neo-wicca or whatever it's called. We just don't have that. Within powwowing, like I said a little earlier, there are some things like in certain family lines or lines of lineage that maybe are specific to those people that they might not share with the outside world. Um, for example, we have some of that stuff in Phoenix line. Now, I share a great deal of information here on this YouTube channel or on the website. Just quick interjection about the website. It has not been updated in a couple of years, and it's not ever going to be updated as far as I know, but it's just out there. It's just out there as is. I'm happy with it. I'm content with it. So any new information I have is going to be found on these videos or, you know, whatever, if I write another booklet or something, but that's not likely to happen anytime soon. So yeah, so I had a teacher who said, keep it to yourself and don't share it with anybody and leave me out of it. And I've respected that for years. I've had a few things that I've taught students and said, this is just for us. So don't share this. But there's very few things that I say that to because really powwow is a folk religious tradition and meant to be used by the people. And so therefore, I think you know, like the books like Long Lost Friend and such were written with the understanding that anybody could just open the book, purchase the book, open it, and start using it. The only limitation was that you had to be a believer in God. And that's it. So, yeah, there are a couple secret things. There are some things that I do that I would not ever share with anybody, possibly even my students. And certainly not here. I do allude to a lot of different things that I do on here, though. So if you watch these videos and if you're kind of keeping track of what powwow is through the way you know, the information I've been sharing, you have a pretty good understanding of the tradition. Probably far more than you'll get from reading any one individual's book, whatever. Certainly more so than any other YouTube channel on the internet or website. But yeah, so don't stop trying to paint other folk practices with, you know, the brush of your own, because that's not how it operates. American folk traditions are rooted in American history and American cultures, and they're well documented. We have our own stuff. And I'm telling you right now, we don't do Wicca Sabbats. And if we do, that's not part of the folk tradition. That's something new that's added to it. And these idea of Harmon none and do what you will and be silent and be daring or whatever. Yeah, that does not apply to us. We do it as we do it. And that's really it. So do I share secrets on here? Sometimes, but they're mine to share. And do I intentionally keep some things hidden? Absolutely. I may share them with students. I may not. You know, I may take some things with me to my grave. But especially as I get older, like there's this like wonderful, awesome thing that happens like kind of once you turn 40. Now I'm in my 50s, so it's like double strength that you stop caring. You know, like you know, you just don't give a crap anymore. Like if these people come at you with these silly attacks or whatever, or like accusations, you know, it's whatever. So, but just to set the record straight, if I've ever been taught anything that's been secret or told to me to keep to myself or whatever, I've done so. Um, but there's no reason for you to keep everything you do a secret. There's nothing mysterious or hidden. Pretty much everything you'll hear about powwow is already published in books, newspaper articles, you know, older ones especially. by historical societies, whatever. So all that information is out there. I just try and put it all together in one place, so you don't have to buy all those books and such. You can just come here and watch a video, and I'll fix you up. So anyway, that's it. Stay cool. Um, get out of the heat. I'm about to get out of the heat, but that's it. God bless you guys. Love you all very much, and we'll talk.